What's happening around the world?
And what's happening here at home? Good evening, this is Primetime News, and I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
I'm Mariam Ganavijaya. We start off and look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Ready for the general election. Election Commission assures to hold a free and fair election. Campaign rallies conclude. President in Piliandala, Sajid and Ranil in Colombo, Namal in Matugama.
පුරුදුනෑ කියලා හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමා හැම තැනම කියලා. මම එතුමාට දැන් දින 3-4ක් තිස්සේ අභියෝග කරනවා. එතුමා ගාව ඉන්න පුරුදුකාරයන්ගේ නම් 10ක් කියන්න.
මේ පළපුරුදු නැති ආණ්ඩුවක්. ජනාධිපතිගෙන් නම් කිසිම පළපුරුද්දක් නැහැ. දැන් ඒ මැදිවට දැන් අපිට ලයිස්ට් කවුද කියන අපේක්ෂකයෝ. දන්නවද කවුද කියලා?
හිටපු ජනාධිපතිවරයා ප්‍රමුඛ කණ්ඩායමට ඕන වුණා රටට බොරු මවාපෑමක් පෙන්නලා රටට අහිත කර ජනතාවට අවාසි කොන්දේසි වලට එකඟ වෙලා මෙන්න ගිවිසුමක් අත්සන් කළාම
Sri Lanka requests US to withdraw advisory on Argambe. World leaders gather for day 2 of the UN climate conference.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka decides.
Sri Lanka decides.
Starting off with news here at home, a special media briefing regarding the general elections was held this morning at the Department of Government Information.
The chairman of the Election Commission, police spokesperson and several other officials attended the briefing.
How will voting take place at the general elections?
For the
Monaragala, Polonnaru and Kegol districts, a single column ballot paper will be used. In other electoral districts, a 2-column ballot paper will be used. Voters will cast their vote by placing a mark next to the name and symbol of their preferred political party or independent group. At the bottom of the ballot paper, there is a preference section. Voters can mark their preferences by writing the preference numbers in this section. If a voter wishes to indicate one preference, they must mark a single preference number. For 2 preferences, they should mark the party or independent group and then select 2 preference numbers below. A maximum of 3 preferences can be indicated by marking 3 numbers in the preference section.
අංක දෙකක් මත. ඊළඟ එක මනාප 3ක් උපරිම වශයෙන් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ පහළ කොටසේ කතර ලකුණු මත ඒ අදාළ අංක 3 ලකුණු කරන්න පුළුවන්.
What security measures and preparations are in place?
මැතිවරණය සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි සමස්තයක් විදිහට ගත්තාම පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් ඍජුව 64000ක් විතර සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. ඒ වගේ
Police officers will be directly involved with around 64,000 personnel deployed. In addition, approximately 70,000 auxiliary officers will be on election duty. We expect 6,000 additional personnel as well. The army have also been called in to assist, especially in securing polling stations, and may deploy about 10,000 personnel if needed. We have also mobilized special forces to protect important locations. In coordination with the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Public Security, the military has been tasked with ensuring security at key sites. Over 11,000 Civil Defence Force officers will be deployed, especially for mobile patrols. We urge voters not to carry unnecessary items to polling stations. During previous elections, we provided similar guidelines, but some people unknowingly brought items like documents in their bags, which could create problems. If such items are found during security checks at polling stations, the people will be arrested. This is because all forms of campaigning, including distributing materials, are strictly prohibited within the vicinity of polling stations.
වාගේ පරීක්ෂා කරනකොට එවැනි දේවල් ඒ බෑග් එක තුල තිබුණොත් ඔබ අත්අඩංගුවටපත් වෙනවා. මොකද සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් අවට එවැනි බෙදා හැරීම් ප්‍රචාරණය කිරීම මේ සියල්ල සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තහනම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
මැතිවරණ රාජකාරී සඳහා
All officials appointed to the election duties must report to their designated locations on the appointed date. There is no possibility of changing or cancelling these appointments. Failure to attend or perform election duties is an offence and can result in penalties.
කාර්යයට සහභාගී නොවීම දඬුවම් ලැබිය හැකි වරදක්.
What should voters do if they do not receive their official polling cards?
මෙතෙක් නිලචන්ද දැන්වීම් පත්‍රිකා ලැබී
Voters who have not received their official polling cards can obtain them from their post offices. They can download the official polling card from the Election Commission's website. It is important to note that having the official polling card is not a mandatory requirement to cast your vote. Even if you don't have the polling card, as long as you possess a valid identification document, you are still eligible to vote.
හැඳුනුම්පතක් ඔබ අතේ තියෙනවා නම් ඡන්දය ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමට අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා.
මේ මැතිවරණය සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමාලාගේ පවතින රෙගුලාසි තත්ත්වය තාමත් අධිකයි. අපේක්ෂකයන්ට අර ගරිල්ලා ක්‍රමයට තමයි මේ ප්‍රවර්ධන කටයුතු කරන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. කිසිම දෙයක් කරන්න හැකියාවක් නැහැ.
Guerrilla.
Regarding the guerrilla style campaigning, I would like to clarify that all actions are in full compliance with the provisions of the Parliamentary Elections Act. We have not implemented any laws beyond those established in the Act. These procedures are being enforced strictly according to the law. I believe that this adherence to the rules is why we have been able to conduct the presidential election and this election campaign without any major issues.
When will the first election result be announced?
At this stage, I cannot make any exact predictions. However, we plan to release the first results, including those from postal voting, by midnight. It is not advisable to announce any specific outcomes prematurely, as this could lead to complications if the predictions are inaccurate.
Can election-related campaigning continue via SMS?
We are making an effort to stop all such activities and will take legal action against those continuing with these campaigns. We are coordinating with the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission to address this issue. These messages are being received not only on mobile phones but also through other platforms. We are working to take appropriate action and are committed to stopping such campaigns. In addition to SMS campaigns, we are also monitoring political promotions being spread through social media. We intend to take the necessary steps within the next few days.
Meanwhile, international election observers met with journalists in Colombo today.
A group of international election observers held a meeting with local journalists in Colombo today, discussing the upcoming elections and the importance of transparent reporting.
We will be observing activities before the election day, which will include visit to various districts to see whether how the material is being distributed, etc. The group will also observe activities on the election day, followed by the counting process and declaration of results. Thereafter, we would like to give our views on the conduct of free and fair elections. We have been reasonably assured so far that the general atmosphere is peaceful. The Election Commission of Sri Lanka, Police Department and all other relevant agencies are working overtime to ensure that the elections are conducted in a very peaceful, free and fair manner. However, our group will observe over these 4 or 5 days how the election laws, how various provisions of various acts are being enforced on the ground level, and whether the election machinery, duly assisted by various related organizations, are conducting the elections according to the laid down regulatory framework. Since we are present here from various countries, we would also request all stakeholders, all relevant agencies to work collaboratively to ensure that elections remains peaceful, people participate in large number to reflect the inclusive democracy here. We are very happy that we will be seeing activities in the field and will be speaking to various cross sections of the society, and we are here for people of Sri Lanka. These elections are very important from the viewpoint of democratic functioning in this country.
The National Election Commission said that over 20 foreign election observers will be taking part in monitoring the upcoming 2024 general election.
Let's take a look at the final campaign rallies organized by political parties ahead of the upcoming general elections. The final campaign rally of the National People's Power was held yesterday in Piliyandala under the leadership of President Anura Kumara Dissanayaka.
The rally, led by President Anurukumar Disanayake, was also attended by Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya and other candidates from the Colombo district representing the National People's Power.
If we were given a strong majority in Parliament, we will be able to transform this country very soon. With a clear majority, we can swiftly make this vision a reality. We need to establish a powerful Parliament. Within that Parliament, we will work to create a prosperous nation and ensure a better life for all. Everyone has a role to play in building that Parliament.
We must create a parliament with a robust majority. Only then will the president have the strength needed to rebuild this country. If we achieve just a small majority, our hopes will not be realized. The victory we seek will only be fulfilled when we bring about meaningful change. The people of this country have shown us that they are ready for change. They have given us the mandate for a strong majority, and that strength will drive the transformation we seek. The list of honest, educated and law-abiding individuals is now before us. We will undoubtedly form a government on the 15th of November. Do not doubt this. Our parliament will be one that supports Anurukumara. Vote for the compass on the 15th of November and go for any number you prefer. Anura has the best from Colombo.
You have placed your trust in us and we will not let you down. This will be realized without a doubt. The 14th of November will be a historic day for our country. It will mark the beginning of a new chapter, a day that will reshape the future of our nation. There is no doubt about this. This is certain. Our country needs dreams. Our country needs hope. We all carry dreams within us. Remember, the 14th of November will be the day those dreams are brought to life and the dawn of a new era for Sri Lanka will begin.
November මාස 14 කියන්නේ ඒ සිහිනවලට ජීවයක් දෙන සිහින සැබෑ කරන දිනය ඒ යුගය තමයි අපි ආරම්භ කරන්නේ. විප්ලවීයන් සක්‍රකල තීන්දුව කරොත් එහෙම ඒ තීන්දුව ආපසු හරවන්න පුළුවන් සමතෙක් දේශපාලනේ නෑ.
If we are to make a revolutionary change, there can be no turning back. The people have already made their decision. Therefore, the result on the 14th is clear to us. From that moment on, our country will embark on a path of progress, heading towards a brighter and more developed future. I am confident that this will happen. We will not allow anyone to turn back or betray this progress. We must create a powerful and progressive nation, one that no force can derail. Our enemies are watching, but we will keep moving forward with unwavering determination. We are not stopping halfway. Once we start, we will see it through to the end. We are ready to build a stronger country, and we are prepared to mobilize a nationwide effort to unite the people and develop this nation.
Leader of the National People's Power, President Anurukumar Disanayake, also spoke at the rally.
A few days ago, I said that we must win in a way that makes some cry. But today, I see that they are faltering before the victory is even secured. Why? Because on the 21st September, something unprecedented happened in Sri Lanka. What took place was not just an ordinary political shift, it was a profound, transformative change. The corrupt and destructive political elite that has dominated our country for so long is being replaced by the will of the people. The people who used to be in power never thought anything like this would happen, and now they are under so much pressure. Today I saw one of them carrying an elbowed. It is clear they are facing huge psychological pressure. They can't handle it anymore. The fate they thought was certain is now slipping away from them. That is why they keep telling themselves, in 3 weeks, in 3 months, or maybe in a year, this will fall apart. But we know better. These are just desperate words to make themselves feel better. If you think about it, I believe that sooner or later, even in the middle of the night, they will be forced to step down. But this victory is here to stay. The people have made it clear. There is no going back. Where are they going to go from here? For the first time in Sri Lankan history, a new political movement has come up that unites the north, south and east of the country. This is not the same kind of politics that divided us before. People who once looked at each other with suspicion, who were divided by religion and ethnicity, are now coming together with one common goal, all rallying behind the national people's power. And they have done so with faith, hope and a clear vision. Remember, our government is here because of the trust you have placed in us. That is the foundation of our strength. So when they say in 3 weeks, 3 months or a year, it will all fall apart, those are just comforting lies they are telling themselves. The country is on a path to destruction right now, led by a society filled with corruption and failure. What we need to do is guide this country in a new direction. And to do that, we need strong, decisive leadership. We need leaders who can bring real change. That is why we have to fill Parliament with fresh faces, people who haven't been part of the old system. On the 14th of November, we need to make that change happen. We need to fill Parliament with Malimawa representatives. But some claim they are not experienced. The former president says we are not experienced everywhere he goes. I challenge him to name 10 of the experienced people who are with him. If he can name someone who is experienced, we can tell him what they are experienced in. Therefore, this parliament should be filled by new people. I will tell you one thing, wherever it may be, if any of those people are sent to parliament, they should send new people. We can give them a good example of what a good parliament looks like. All this needs to be changed, especially this parliament needs to be changed. This parliament needs to be cleaned. A parliament with criminals, a parliament with corrupt individuals, a parliament with people carrying chili powder, a parliament with people insulting each other, a parliament where fights break out in the middle of sessions, a parliament where water is thrown on the speaker's chair, a parliament where they pass laws for personal gain, a parliament where seats are sold. This is not what we want. The parliament was prohibited for children to watch for some time. I have never heard that in Sri Lanka children are prohibited from being in zoos. But parliament is banned from children watching. So doesn't this parliament need to be cleaned? It definitely needs to be cleaned.
විකිනෙන පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් දරුවන්ට බලන්න තහනම් කරා කාලයක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව. මම අහලා නැහැ ලංකාවේ කවදාවත් දරුවන්ට සත්තුවත්ත තහනම් කරා කියලා. හැබැයි පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තහනම් කරා. ඉතින් මේක පිරිසුදු කරන්න ඕනේ නැද්ද? පිරිසුදු කරන්න ඕන.
Leader of the New Democratic Front, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, attended the final public rally held in Colombo yesterday. He was carrying an elbow with him.
The primary issue in the country today is the economy. Everything else is secondary. The president has yet to announce his economic vision. There is a clear sense of uncertainty here. This is an inexperienced government. The president lacks experience. Do we know who the candidates are? Do you know of them? What they are telling you is that they will find hidden candidates and elevate them to parliament. This may be true, but how will they find these hidden candidates? We are now operating under what can only be described as an elbowed government. If we have an elbowed government and an elbowed parliament, it will cause serious problems. The country will be on the brink of disaster. So the question is, should we have an elbowed parliament? This can change if the parliament is reformed. If parliament is restructured properly, something constructive can be done. Therefore, we must push for reforms to make parliament functional again. This is not a problem.
Under the leadership of Ranil Wickremesinghe, the New Democratic Front held the public meeting in Manadani yesterday, where candidates from the Colombo district also participated.
Are we really going to give parliament a group with no experience? This inexperienced government has already begun driving up the cost of living in the country within just 40 days. Salary increases have now become an unrealistic dream. No concrete programs have been presented to the country. At such a critical time, are we going to allow an inexperienced president and an inexperienced parliament to come together? The decision we face right now is whether to take this path or not. We have brought together all our collective strength. With the remarkable leadership, strength and public trust of our candidates, we aim to rebuild the political movement that will restore public confidence. We will take charge of parliament through the people's mandate. Without parliament, the president cannot accomplish anything legally. No law will hold without parliament. For this reason, we will push for the general election to become a decisive moment for a major political transformation. What is being said is not what is being done. It is not what the people asked for. They are taking a completely different direction. And that is why first and foremost, the economy must be rebuilt. We have laid the groundwork to build the economy. Whether this direction is reversed or not will be determined by the overwhelming majority we secure on the 14th in Parliament.
The final campaign rally of the Samagi Jana Balavegaya took place yesterday in Alutkade, Colombo.
The rally, held under the leadership of SJB leader Sajith Premadasa, was attended by Colombo district candidates and Samaki Jana Santhanaya representatives.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නියෝජනය වෙන්න ඕනේ සියලුම මත විධායක ජනාධිපති ධූරය අත්පත් කරගත් පක්ෂයේ මතය පමණක් නෙවෙයි. අලුත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට
It is not only the President's party that needs to be represented in Parliament, but everyone else. The new Parliament will face significant responsibilities. We are discussing constitutional reforms, economic recovery and the key duties of the new Parliament. Additionally, we are addressing issues of corruption. While all of these are important, the promises made to the people during the presidential election must be fulfilled. Specifically, the cost of living must be reduced. Employment opportunities must be created. The government claims that taxes such as VAT and income tax must be lowered to provide relief to the public. To fulfill these promises, there must be pressure in Parliament, but that pressure will not come from the ruling party. Therefore, it is crucial that all parties, including the opposition, are allowed to freely express their views in Parliament.
ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂයෙන් නෙවෙයි. එම නිසා ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂය විපක්ෂය ඒ සියලුම පක්ෂවල අදහස් නිදහස් ලෙස විවෘත ලෙස පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමට අවස්ථාව ලැබිය යුතුයි.
සමහරයෝ ඉන්නවා දෙපැත්ත කකුල තියාගෙන ඉන්න අය වගේ.
Some people are trying to play both sides, pretending to take no stand, but we are the ones who have always acted with integrity, and we will continue to do so in the future. We are committed to giving our best for the party and its cause both today and tomorrow. The only way to end political crisis in this country is by appointing Sajith Premadasa as Prime Minister. Only he can reduce taxes, improve the living environment and create a better future for our children. The former president still in the lost. Now his henchmen are coming in. Meanwhile, Ranil Wickremesinghe is giving speeches these days claiming that experienced people should be brought into Parliament. But what exactly is he referring to? Are these so-called experienced people the ones in the cylinder? Who in Colombo has the experience he is talking about? Is it Sagala Ratnayaka? What Ranil Wickremesinghe is suggesting is to bring in Sagala Ratnayaka into Parliament.
Sajith Premadasa also spoke at the rally.
IMF එක තමන්ගේ වාර්තාවල ලිඛිතව සඳහන් කරලා තියෙනවා.
The IMF has explicitly said in its report that starting debt repayment from 2033 is sufficient. The previous president's government signed agreements that were detrimental to the country and the people. They misled the public, and now they are signing agreements that will delay debt repayment until 2028. Why is this happening? Because the former president's team wanted to deceive the nation and bind the people to unfavorable conditions for the sake of the presidential election. They assured the public that they would handle everything, and now they have signed agreements to delay debt repayment until 2028. If you think about it, can the country in just 4 short years significantly accelerate economic growth, strengthen export-driven industries and begin debt repayment? The truth is, under the current IMF agreement, we will face significant challenges. But I am committed to working with the IMF, renegotiating the terms to better serve the people. The only way to lead the new IMF agreement that prioritizes the needs of the public is through the leadership of the Samagi Jana Balavegaya.
එකම ගමන තිබෙන්නේ සමගි ජන බලවේගයට අපේ පක්ෂයට.
The final rally of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held yesterday in Matagama, chaired by SLPP national organizer Namal Rajapaksa.
අපි
We love a good challenge, and we know that politics itself is one of the biggest challenges out there. On one hand, we stand by our party members, protecting them at all costs. On the other hand, we are supposedly working towards transforming our motherland into a developed country. But here's the thing, our government changes so frequently, and with every new government comes a new set of policies, pulling the country back with every turn. Every day the leaders take the stage saying that we'll make them regret this, we'll make them cry. Get ready to laugh. Wait until we catch all the thieves. Ranil Wickremesinghe said that he'll bring good news by getting the country out of bankruptcy. He couldn't, but at least he offered the illusion of good news. Now, the current president's idea of good news seems to be waiting for someone to be thrown into prison. That's not the kind of good news the people are hoping for. If we are talking about real good news, how about hearing that the people's incomes are rising, or that tax burden is finally being lifted? What about some actual job creation, or farmers getting decent prices for their crops? We support the good things. We will not be a barrier from supporting what is good. However, on the other hand, when actions are taken that are not in the best interest of the country, we will raise our voices against that.
Leader of the Sarvajana Balaya, Dilip Jayavira, extended an open invitation to the people to join his party in order to contribute to the country's development. He expressed these views at the final rally held yesterday in Maharagama.
අපි ආරාධනා කරන්නේ මේ රටේ දියුණු වෙන්න ඕන මිනිස්සු අපි ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙමු එකතු වෙලා
We are calling on everyone who wants to see this country thrive. Let's all come together. When we unite, we won't just progress as individuals, but will also help develop our nation as a whole. Our goal is to inspire the people of this country to embrace an entrepreneurial spirit. We need to light a fire of ambition in this nation to rise up and move forward. This isn't about filling people's minds with despair, hatred and frustration, constantly telling them that we can't succeed. That is the kind of politics we have been following, and it is time for a change. So we believe that now, in this rare and precious moment, the people of this country have a chance to build a better future. This is for our children, for the love we have for our motherland. If you believe that Sri Lanka must be protected and kept united, now is the time for all of us to come together. Let's unite for the prosperity of Sri Lanka, restore the faith of our people, and work hand in hand to create a future where we believe in ourselves and where the success of our nation and its people is guaranteed.
ආත්ම විශ්වාසය ශ්‍රී ලංකාව නිර්මාණය කර ගැනීමට දැන් අවස්ථාව ලැබිලා තියෙනවා.
Leader and the candidate for the Gampaha district for the United Democratic Voice, Ranjan Ramanayake, attended the final rally held yesterday in Dompe.
For the past 5 years, we have been unable to bring about any real change. I urge the people to elect those who have the ability to enact laws and govern the country. We need foreign investors to enter the country. Everyone must contribute from abroad. Is it wrong to accept foreign assistance? Is it wrong to use that help to support our people? I firmly believe that this is the right course of action, and that is why the people are supporting us. Behind me stands my party, and behind my party there is a broad coalition of international forces and foreign businessmen, as well as our own national entrepreneurs. We have support from countries such as South Korea, Romania, Australia, the United States, Canada, Italy and many others. With their assistance, I intend to pay off our debts and transform this nation into a prosperous one. This is the vision of the United Democratic Voice.
The People's Struggle Alliance emphasized the need to change the opposition in the country. It is the People's Struggle Alliance that has stood with the people during times of trouble, when democracy was abolished and when crisis plagued the country. Ranjan Ramanayake, the actor, is contesting for the opposition. Entrepreneur Dilip Jayavira is also contesting for the opposition. Namal Rajapaksa is contesting for the opposition. Ranil Wickremesinghe is also for the opposition. Sajith Premadasa is also contesting for the opposition. But we cannot hand over the opposition to them. Why? Because they were part of the previous administration. Even then, they did not stand by the people. It is the People's Struggle Alliance that can truly represent the opposition and carry out its responsibilities. When you raise questions about our qualifications, we remind you that we have already demonstrated our capabilities. The People's Struggle Alliance has shed blood, sweat and tears to prove this. We can responsibly assure you that we will change the opposition. A state power is being created claiming to represent the power of the people.
The final public meeting of the Ilangai Tamilarasa Katchi was held yesterday in Chollipuram, Jaffna.
There are parts of our country where the majority of our people are living in. The state power should be decentralized to the northern and eastern provinces of the country. Some powers cannot be decentralized. Do not divide the country. Power should be decentralized to prevent the country from being divided. States must be shared. We are asking for something that is already prevailing, a federal system. If a federal system had been implemented, there would have not been a war. Even though they hold on to the compass, they are moving in a different direction. After the presidential election, we can clearly see that they are heading in a different direction. People who are blindly following them in search of change must understand this. They say that sharing power with the Tamil people is not necessary. They say that the 13th Amendment is not necessary. They also say that the Prevention of Terrorism Act does not need to be repealed. I challenge Anurakumara Dissanayaka's National People's Power. If you are truly expecting change, then as Tamil people, we too must have the rights that Sinhala people have in this country. We must establish a federal constitution so that the people of the northern and eastern provinces can live with the right to self-determination. That is truly the real change.
News First with the people.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that nations at the COP29 summit must reach a deal that does not leave poorer countries empty-handed in their fight against climate change.
Developing countries eager to act are facing many obstacles: scant public finance, raging cost of capital, crashing climate disasters, and debt servicing that soaks up funds. The result? Adaptation denied and a tale of two transitions. Last year, developing and emerging markets outside China received just 15 cents per every dollar invested in clean energy globally. COP29 must tear down the walls of climate finance. Developing countries must not leave Baku empty-handed. A deal is a must, and I'm confident it will be reached. We need a new finance goal that meets the moment. The resources available may seem insufficient, but they can be multiplied with a meaningful change in how the multilateral system works. There is no time to lose. On climate finance, the world must pay up, or humanity will pay the price.
The UN has said that climate change is contributing to record numbers of people being uprooted from their homes globally while worsening the often already hellish conditions of displacement. The top priority at COP29 is landing a hard-fought deal to boost funding for climate action in developing countries. His comments came as leading figures from governments around the world arrived from the summit, although many top politicians are not attending this year's summit. Around 50,000 people are attending the summit in Azerbaijan, including the leaders of many African, Asian and Latin American countries beset by climate disasters.
Today is the second day of the COP29 summit in Baku, Azerbaijan. It is a very special day. The World Leaders Climate Action Summit, held in conjunction with the COP summit, began today. This morning, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, among other world leaders, appeared for the group photo, which is traditionally taken during the COP summit. However, the non-participation of US President Joe Biden, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping in the summit has seemed to attract everyone's attention. Nevertheless, about 100 world leaders are scheduled to issue their statements during the summit today and tomorrow. We look forward to reporting more on that in the next few days. From Baku, Azerbaijan, this is Disna Kanayanchana and Tharushi Madawala reporting to you for News First.
In more news from here at home, the Court of Appeal today rejected the bail request of Randev Dinendra John, a director of W.M. Mendes Company, who has been sentenced to imprisonment.
Randev Dinendra John was sentenced to 6 months in prison by the Colombo Magistrates Court for failing to pay 3.5 billion rupees in value-added tax. The bail application was heard before the bench of the Court of Appeal Justices Sobhita Rajakaruna and Mahen Gopallava. The Court of Appeal rejected the bail request and scheduled the next hearing for the 29th of November to confirm facts.
The production activities at the Valisara-based factory owned by W.M. Mendes and Company have been limited. The Department of Excise said that this measure was taken up by the Excise Commissioner due to the continued non-payment of outstanding taxes. As a result, the department has deployed a team of officers to monitor whether the company is conducting production activities in compliance with the imposed restrictions. The Excise Department further noted that W.M. Mendes & Co. has been granted a deadline for the 30th of November to settle outstanding taxes. The manufacturing permit of the company is to be suspended should it fail to settle the tax arrears by the stipulated date. W.M. Mendes & Company currently owes the state over 5 billion rupees in unpaid taxes.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has requested the US Embassy in Sri Lanka to lift the security advisory currently in place for Sri Lanka.
On the 23rd of October, the US Embassy in Sri Lanka issued a security advisory urging American citizens to avoid travel to Arugambé until further notice. Meanwhile, security forces have successfully arrested 6 suspects in connection with the related incident. Defense Secretary, retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakontha, engaged on an official visit to the eastern province earlier this week to assess the security situation in Arugambé. The Ministry of Defense said that the Defense Secretary had been briefed on the current security arrangements by local military and police officials. Following this, based on the findings, the Defense Secretary has instructed relevant officials to take necessary measures to ensure the safety of key tourist destinations in Sri Lanka, including Arugambé. During this process, the Defense Secretary emphasized the need to ensure the tourist safety is maintained without infringing upon their freedom, while also instilling confidence in their security.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Generators for long-term rent. Multiways Engineering Private Limited. Soundproof generators. Long-term rent. Multiways Engineering Private Limited. Number 54.1 Delgahavatta Road, Ratmalana.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Soundproof generators. Long-term rent. Multiways Engineering Private Limited. Number 54.1 Delgahavatta Road, Ratmalana.
A fire that broke out earlier this morning at a garment factory located in Madavalikada Road in Rajagiriya has now been doused.
The Valikada police received the initial report of the fire around 10:45 a.m. today. Following this, fire trucks from both Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte Municipal Council and the Colombo Municipal Council were dispatched to the scene of fire at the garment factory in the Madavalikada Road in Rajagiriya. According to the police, the fire was completely doused by around 1 p.m.
When we were called for assistance, the fire had already caused significant damage. However, the exact cause is still under investigation. We cannot yet confirm whether it was due to a short circuit, as it is difficult to ascertain the precise cause given the nature of the materials stored here. It appears that the fire originated from the fabrics and threads kept in this warehouse. Fortunately, there have been no reported casualties. While there are residential areas nearby, we managed to prevent the fire from spreading to the homes by containing it quickly.
The extent of the property damage caused by the fire has not been assessed.
Soundproof generators. Long-term rent. Multiways Engineering Private Limited. Number 54.1 Delgahavatta Road, Ratmalana.
Welcome back. South Asian organizations across multiple sectors were honored for their excellence in annual reporting at the SAFA Best Presented Annual Report Awards organized by the South Asian Federation of Accountants.
The SAFA Best Presented Annual Report Awards organized by the South Asian Federation of Accountants hosted by CA Sri Lanka took place in Colombo yesterday. Dr. P. Namdalal Veerasinghe, Governor of the Central Bank, Heshana Kurupu, President of SAFA, Ashfaq Yusuf Tola, Vice President of SAFA were among several key figures who attended the event.
Despite the challenges that we face in our region, there is much to celebrate as the World Bank recently raised, I think last week or week before, its growth forecast for South Asia to 6.4%, up from 6% earlier. This revision no doubt underscores the resilience of our region, driven primarily by India's strong demand and faster than expected recoveries in countries like Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Another critical factor is that South Asia is now recognized as the fastest growing emerging economy region under the World Bank's monitoring.
The event showcased the highest standards of transparency, accountability and corporate governance in the region, with companies from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Nepal taking part in it. South Asian organizations across multiple sectors were honored for their excellence in annual reporting.
A book named Labour Migrants from South Asian Issues and Concerns was launched in Colombo today.
The launch of the publication Labour Migrants from South Asian Issues and Concerns was initiated by the Sri Lanka Institute of National Security Studies. Director of the Centre for South Asian Studies and convener of COSAT, Dr. Nischal Pandey presented the outline of the book.
The idea of this book is that the problems are more or less the same. Agents hire them, they apply for visas, they take loan from their village elders or from the banks to go abroad. In the host countries itself, there is enormous amount of problem. They don't get salary on time. They lose their jobs. Their visa extension is always an issue. And there is no common framework in South Asia as regards to migrant labor.
The book was unveiled by former Secretary General of BIMSTEC, General Sumit Nakandala.
The labor migration has become an integral part of the foreign policies and government policies of many countries. In that context, I think his publication has provided enormous opportunity for audience and researchers and academics to explore the field further with the new geopolitics emerging, especially with respect to Trump becoming the 47th president, and he has already sounded out certain things. I think there will be impact on South Asia as well.
The book launch was followed by discussion on the book and the issues faced by South Asian immigrants.
The ODI series between Sri Lanka and New Zealand will kick off tomorrow.
Wanindu Hasaranga has been ruled out of the ODI series against New Zealand after sustaining an injury to his left hamstring during the second T20 on Sunday. He has been replaced in the ODI squad by Dushan Hemantha, another bowling all-rounder. New Zealand quick Lockie Ferguson has also been ruled out of the ODI series. Adam Millen has been called up in place of injured Ferguson. Both teams took part in final preparations today before the ODI series kicks off tomorrow. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Cricket has appointed former South African batsman Neil McKenzie as the national team's short-term consultant coach. Sri Lanka's ODI and T20 captain Charith Asalanka expressed his views before the game.
The advantage we have is that we have been playing ODIs continuously. We have played a large number of ODIs in Sri Lanka. So I think that it is an advantage that we have, and we hope to continue with that form. I think it has made a significant impact on the squad. The probability of playing with Van der Sar is higher than Dushan Hemantha, especially since Mahesh Theekshana is also in good form. We expect to play with two fast bowlers since this pitch won't favour the spinners like previously. From what it looks like for now, he will probably play tomorrow. But we are still assessing the situation. And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you very much for joining us. Good night and take care.